a snow pile in the back of the supermarket. I'm on an expedition to explore the outer reaches of suburbia. You've actually seen this, more or less this view, at different times of year. I painted it before with a delivery van in the summertime. And I've also painted the water tower that you see behind me also during the warmer season. But now it's winter, but it's warm enough to use watercolor since it's above freezing. I love those snow piles, and I think what I want to do is set up my tripod with a homemade easel, short brushes, and watercolor palette. And I'm using a water-soluble colored pencil. This is like a colored pencil, but when you run washes over it, it'll dissolve and impart a little bit of color to the wash in that area. I'm working out the perspective, the vanishing point, the base of the snow pile, and at least an idea of the perimeter of the trees. And now I can add some washes. First the sky, a thin wash over the sky, then those far mountains, and then the shadow side of the snow pile. Everything else on the page is white, but these washes, these early ones, are fairly wet. And now I look at those trees and I want to get the delicacy of the branches. So I use the brushes with the fibers spread out to make a split brush technique. The paint on the brush is very dry. I can get the feeling of leaves, the delicate branches, and indicate a lot of texture as I go. Now that area in the back behind the snow pile, I'm using that split brush to suggest lots of detail. The branches have to get very thin as you get out to the edges. Now I'm getting wet again. This is using a grayed down mixture and using a lot of water. You notice in the lower left there's a bead of wet water at the bottom edge. And I make sure to keep moving that bead downward to keep this wet wash fairly flat as I go down. I go back and forth with the brush, keeping it alive as I go down. And then I'm doing some strokes in perspective, going back to that vanishing point to help define that plane as going back to the same single vanishing point. Now I can go keep it wet again, dissolving that pencil, and then the final touches I can do with a small brush going back to dry. So it's dry over wet. You can't really go wet over those dry brush strokes without dissolving them again. Okay, thanks for watching. You might want to check out my website or subscribe to my channel. And then here's a playlist with more good stuff and a video that continues the story. So check them out and share with your friends.